broadcasting from across the North American continent of the Terran Empire, bringing you our unpopular Star Trek opinions since 2020. This is Code 47.
And we are back for episode 48 of 47, the Code 47 podcast here on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. I am your host, the Trek Lord of West Michigan, captain of the USS Grand Petoskey Starfleet International Fan Club, Charlie Carden. Here as always with my transporter combination co-host, Erin.
We're concubines.
Oh, okay. To each other or to we don't need to talk about that.
To
Raren
you.
is basically Brundlefly, right?
Oh, gross. Well, don't puke on anything. But anyway, how are we doing on this sunny Sunday? At least, okay, it's sunny where I am. I guess it's always sunny in Grand Rapids. No, that's also not true. But anyway, how's everybody doing?
I have a award-winning headache that's being managed by ibuprofen.
I thought you were going to tell me you have an award-winning head, because when I look behind you, you have you have 2/3 of Worf's head, one to the left, one to the right. So it's an award-winning head. You need to just keep doing that the whole episode. Just keep moving back and forth very gently. Whoa. See,
if I wouldn't have grabbed this pillow to sit on, right, I would be doing that.
That's the shifter, exactly. So, well, good. Well, we're back, and as usual, we have our three-ring circus. We have segment one where we're talking about.
I'm also doing well, Charlie.
I was about to say, Rich, sound 1,000 times better than last week.
I apologize. I thought I gave you a window when you didn't take it. I thought you were, being a conscientious objector, and I
was letting other people speak.
Well, this like when I said it's time to record, and you said, "Oh, we're waiting on you."
We were.
You guys, Rich recovering from the Tarothgan virus that he had last week.
It's not coronavirus.
No, it's not coronavirus.
Just a general creeping crud of some sort.
Creeping crud. So anyway, our three-ring circus. In segment one, we talk about new programming, which would be Lower Decks. Segment two, we talk about a legacy episode that has some cultural impact. We wrap up with the news, and then we're on down the road. So without further delay, let's get started talking about Lower Decks. Mugatu Gumatu, episode 4, season 2.
I have an idea.
Okay, I'm open to it, please.
Okay, so can we just pick out and take turns something really crappy about the episode and talk about it, and then the next person be like, I see your whatever, and raise you A, and then talk about something worse.
So it becomes a poker game, a race to the bottom.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Then since it's your idea, you get to start.
Okay, I'm going to start with I'm going to start easy with the mildest bad part, which was the language. There were 4 asses, 1 shit, and 1 fuck.
Bleeped. Mostly bleeped?
Not the asses.
Only the F was bleeped, I think.
The shit was bleeped, because I remember that. Because it was. I watched it again this morning. It was right at the end, and it was the cat doctor, which, if I sneak in something positive, I did for a second week in a row enjoy Dr. Tana, the cat doctor. At that
point, I was so disgusted with the episode that I didn't enjoy the cat doctor. You couldn't have given me anything. Yeah, I was like, this is awful and cheap.
Okay,
and bad.
I will go next.
Okay.
Because I'm going to pick a low-hanging fruit, but maybe not as low-hanging. This episode was obviously all about the Mugato, which is a creature from the original series. In this, we saw doggy style and missionary Mugatu sex, obviously somewhat out of frame or in a corner frame. And then you saw a third one who liked to watch the two of them do it while he stroked his own horn. Absolutely the worst thing I have ever seen that stuck its name to Star Trek. It was what I am not afraid to say, the lowest, taking the low road to the bottom for the show. I can't believe that they did this.
Yeah,
I think it could be the worst thing that they've done in this series yet. It was totally grossed out.
The most fun part about this was, given the first 4 episodes, and I had my daughter on last week or the week before.
Right, yeah.
I watched this with her. And mind you, you can call me a bad parent for watching something TV-14 with my child, but I've seen the show before and it's never done anything like this.
No. This was a quantum leap. No offense to Scott Bakula, Captain Archer, in the wrong direction for the show. It was just. I mean, frankly, you know what? This is my last resort. This is the last thing I'm going to say about it. Rich, you can continue talking, and then we can move on because, I was just they really bottomed out with this. This was a bad segment of the station.
I was holding my breath, hoping my daughter, who's 7, would not ask me what they were doing. And I knew that if mommy was suddenly like, oh, I'm gonna hit pause really quick and be like, oh, we gotta go do something else, she's not stupid. She'll pick up that something bad was going on. So
Right.
I had to call it like, do I just let this ride out? This is definitely like television. It can't get too bad, and hopefully she won't notice if it's short, which was the case. And then I promptly told Rich, whose son was supposed to be on the show, do not let your son watch this show.
Mm-mm. And again, Miles is a few years older, but still,
It doesn't matter.
10. He's 10. This is
exactly
not 10-year-old category.
And so this is absolutely 15, 16-year-old potty humor that, like, I mean, my son is a special case because he's kind of different acting, and he's not into this kind of stuff. But this is something that I could have watched at 15 and 16. Of course, our generation was very different about that kind of stuff, and probably just been like, and it would have warped me because we grew up in the 80s. We were warped anyway. It was kind of hard to avoid. But
hey, Rich,
oh my God,
yeah,
will you please flip out about this now?
It's your turn. It's your turn, and then I'm making a captain's prerogative. Then we're moving on because otherwise I'm not going to say beating anything. We're just Rich.
Did.
You go. You go, please.
So, Charlie, first of all, I want to point out that you think that this is the lowest possible thing that's ever put its name on Star Trek, and we watched the entire animated series. So I just want to bring that up. We watched the whole animated series. None of it was as bad as where this is going.
Offensive. I would say. I guess I was more referring to it being offensive as opposed to poor quality, even though the two really are kind of intermarried in this instance.
It's
but yes, please.
Cheap, like bathroom type humor. It's on the level of that.
Exactly. If I'm watching Family Guy, I expect this. If I'm watching The Orville, I expect this. If I'm watching, anything Seth MacFarlane does, I'm expecting this. But or Adam Sandler or not that I'd watch anything Adam Sandler made, but this is Star Trek, right? And this is pitched as a kid's show. This is not what you're expecting to see. You're not expecting to see this as a kid's show. I'm no prude. I swear like a sailor. Ask anyone. But this is billed as a show for children, for 14-year-olds. That's not appropriate for 14-year-olds.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, I'm with you, Erin. By the time they got to the cat stuff at the end, I mean, if they hadn't prefaced it with all this other ridiculousness, I think I would have been more on Charlie's side with the cat stuff, because the cat stuff has traditionally been funny, right?
Right.
Maybe it was funny. Maybe it was. I don't even remember it. I was so pissed off that I'm offended as a fan that this is the shit that they put out there.
Right. I expect more from Star Trek. That's what it comes down to. Is I expect more from Star Trek.
I mean,
the bar is much higher than almost any other franchise that you can think of.
What intelligence level do they think that their fans are to give us this?
Yep.
Right. I agree. It is a absolutely low shot. Do you guys agree with my episode title? Is this the low road? Is this the nadir? How else? If we're going to center an episode title around what we're talking about here, what would you guys say? Pitch me one idea.
Okay. It is a dilapidated load of sloppy knob cheese.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that title. Rich.
Okay.
I don't have anything. Don't put me on the spot like that. I'll come up with something later.
Works for me.
We might come up with something organically. We'll see.
Very organic is better.
I wanted to mention that I reached out to a friend of mine who does a podcast that doesn't like Lower Decks, and he likes everything Star Trek. So I wanted to know what he thought about it. And he has a lot of people on his podcast, and they all really like it. So he's usually the odd one out.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, please come on it. I need somebody to be on team. I hate Lower Decks.
Be on my side.
Then he sent me his rating of these first 4 episodes, and he gave this one 5 out of 10, and the other ones are like 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. Right. So I think maybe this disgusting stuff does something for somebody that already thinks it's terrible and they think it's an improvement. I do not. I already didn't like the show, and they didn't do themselves any favors to getting me to warm up to it eventually. This was a piece of garbage.
Yeah. No, I don't. Well, you've only got 6 episodes left, so let's hope if this is the bottom that the climb back up.
That shows aren't this show isn't going to be 23 episodes.
Right. And no shows really are anymore because, again, network TV is dead. I have no idea how long network TV seasons are anymore. All I really know is that shows are generally like anywhere between 6 and 13 episodes, and that's fine for me.
Let me ask a question here. Eugene Roddenberry put his name on this. Do you think Gene Roddenberry would be okay with this?
No.
Fuck no. Right. Oops. I'm glad that I got bleep. No. I'm glad that my saying that word got covered over because Sharon and I talked at the same time. Yeah, this was kind of one of those, do something what did Dennis Leary do something every day that makes your mother ashamed? This would be the one. Oh man. Okay. If you guys can agree, let's move on. Segment 2. Agreed?
I just want to say one more thing, Charlie.
Yes, please.
I was really, particularly because of this episode, excited about one of our news stories because I looked at it and thought, thank God there's going to be adult Star Trek again.
I know.
I cannot disagree in any way, shape, or form. Okay, segment 2, Infinite Diversity. I'm going to nominate. Who chose this episode?
I think you did actually out of some recommendations that I had made, but I think Rich is probably going to be the best person to helm this one.
Yeah.
I'm not really good with that. Come on. I think Charlie should do it. Charlie, you should lead it.
No? I'm trying to share the burden of command here. But no, it's okay. I don't want to put it. I put you on the spot a minute ago. I don't want to do it twice. So you decide. You decide. Okay, very good.
I'll do it.
Take it away.
So DS9 Season 4, Episode 16, Bar Association. And it's all about Rom and the other employees of Quark's forming a union against Quark's unfair labor practices. And then they end up going on strike. And it's all about like their struggle to get better treatment. And yeah, so now I can't do this like Erin does it because I didn't think of any questions or anything like that. I wasn't thinking about that.
That's okay.
So,
Justin, do you want me to pitch you some questions? Question number 1.
No, I don't think you should pitch us questions, but I think maybe it would be helpful if we all just maybe talked about how what we know about unions translates to this episode.
Right.
Well, no, I'm from Detroit. Which is famous for the auto industry. Obviously, unions were a massive part of that and still are to this day. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't have a ton of informed opinion about what that really means to folks who work in the auto industry. I don't have any family members that actually work in the auto industry. So I can't say, hey, my uncle so-and-so is in local blah, 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 this and that, and they had to strike because they were, they were working 90 hours a week or something. So I don't, but again, when you go backwards, I'm sure to the kind of things that are reflected in this episode, and then really even there's a great segment in when they're in the infirmary and Chief O'Brien is either being treated or he's talking to somebody who's being treated. I think he's talking to Rom about the fact that he had an ancestor who headed up a coal miner strike in Pennsylvania, of all places. In the 18th century. In the end of it, he won the strike, but then his bullet-riddled body was found in the river a week later. I think it really speaks to what unions can accomplish. I don't know, in my experience, anytime I hear about something union related, when it talks to the auto industry, it just means the price of your cars are going up. And I hear horror stories about how.
Well, I think you hear that because that's what the media wants you to hear.
The media, yes, okay,
because they're being paid by the people that own these companies and have a stake in it. So
that seems fair. That seems fair.
You get this information so that you think, oh, unions are bad. It's going to make my prices go up, when that might not actually be the case.
That's true. And to your point, you're right. I don't really have anything to base that on. What I do have to base on is that, living in this state, like, oh, my uncle, this and that, you're talking to a friend or a coworker, or whatever it is, have heard horror stories about the just absolute gross abuse of, hey, I clocked in, I went to the bar, and then I went to the bar for half my shift. I came back, I worked, and then I clocked out. Or my uncle would clock in, and he had a little antenna TV in the rafters of the factory he worked at. He would clock in and watch TV for 8 hours. I mean, you hear these stories that are almost too fantastical to be true, but if they are...
Yeah, people like to say negative things like, oh, I'm going to take my 15-minute union break every hour. But again, I think that's just like something that's, like a rumor that's stated about people to make unions look bad. When in actuality, I mean, they protect workers. They make sure that they get fair wages, fair treatment. They protect them legally if they're to get fired because they got sick.
Injured.
Or injured. Absolutely.
Right.
So,
I think this episode absolutely, it hits all of that really right on the head. Because it starts off with that exact kind of thing. Ram has a really serious malady, an ear infection, which is serious for a Ferengi. It'd be like ball cancer for a human, because their ears are their zone or whatever. And doesn't he make some crack about, he's self-umoxing or something, which is the Ferengi. Am I misremembering this? I hope it'd be great if I was. Because
do you remember when they all had those skirts on the back?
We talked about that a lot when we were watching this episode together. So yes, but again, this really underscores everything that unions can really help. So they become a collective bargaining unit.
Rich, what are we missing?
Well, I think what we're really missing here is that this actually kind of informs even now what's going on, especially in the U.S., with what everybody seems to think of as a labor shortage, but it's actually a strike. People don't want to be paid shit wages to do a shit job.
True, very true.
I mean, if it's all the people that are working in like a McDonald's or a Hardee's or whatever.
Yeah, kind of
walking out. They're walking out because they have an opportunity for a better job.
You have the largest grocery chain in the world, which is a German-based company in the United States that starts everybody out at $15 an hour. And they have been doing so for the past few years. And that's Aldi.
Right.
So...
And they probably keep people employed for that exact reason.
They do, and it keeps them happy.
Is it hurting their profits, Erin?
No, it doesn't hurt their profits. They sell stuff dirt cheap. It is interesting, but do you know why? Because this is a European company. They're German.
Well, again, something that can hurt a company's profits, I would imagine, and again, I'm no master economist, is that when you pay people shit wages and then they quit, and then you have to replace them at someone else who is maybe even less talented at flipping burgers or even maybe doing something menial, they quit, and then you bring on somebody new and they quit, and you're training and you're wasting time. Well, and I've gone up to I've gone to a restaurant, even a restaurant in a town I'm passing through, and they had to close down because so many people called in sick and they have no backup. That kind of thing is going to happen when you don't compensate people who want to do the work because they're making a living wage.
What it really comes down to is these larger corporations that own these smaller businesses like McDonald's and Hardee's and even like factories and that sort of stuff. That some of these factories, especially in my area, are hiring people for like $12.70 an hour. Meanwhile, at McDonald's you can get $15 an hour to flip burgers, right? Which no problem with that. I have no problem with that. A lot of people will have a problem.
I don't either. People say really rude things about it, like it's a job for teenagers. And a year ago, you were saying, "Oh, you guys are heroes because you're still keeping us fed." And now we're getting back to condescending people and
pick a lane, right? Pick a story and stick to it.
But the thing is that these corporations, their multiple billions of dollars are born on the backs of people that are making slave wages.
Yeah.
Right.
What are equatable to slave wages now. So unions would help these folks. Unions would help them. And I'm not going to say that unions are always good because like you said, someone ends up in a, in Miles O'Brien's story, his ancestor ends up with a bullet riddled body. But And I'm sure that happens. I know that happens. However, being able to unite these workers so that I'm not saying they should seize the means of production, although might be something that I believe, but seizing the means of production is not something that I'm even advocating for in this particular scenario. I'm just saying allowing them to have breaks when they need a break, allowing them to work a reasonable amount of time, allowing them to get paid a reasonable wage.
And treat people good enough so that they don't resort to having to go on strike.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Right. And I'm not even talking about smaller corporations. Like my wife owns a business. I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about these giant businesses, these giant corporations that are making billions upon billions of dollars, hand over fist. Their lowest rung of people should not be in the poorhouse. Walmart's lowest rung of people should not be in the poorhouse.
Absolutely great example. Yeah, Walmart comes to mind. McDonald's comes to mind.
Amazon.
Oh God, Amazon. My son is working at an Amazon warehouse, and again, it kind of fits the bill for him because he doesn't, he hasn't pursued his education. He doesn't have a trade skill at this time. But again, during the peak of Corona, where were some of the stories coming out of Amazon warehouses of how that was being transmitted around, people who were stacked on top of each other like cordwood with no PPE, no way to avoid it. But again, they're trying to make a wage, not even a living wage, so they can support themselves, support their families, find different ways to make ends meet.
The owner of one of these said companies has so much wealth and so much money that he's making fun rockets to shoot into space.
Right. So you got somebody who's got more money than any human being could spend in a lifetime.
He can just play with gigantic toys that no one could ever afford when he could take that
giant
money.
Wiener rockets too.
He could take that money of his own money and just decide to pay people more.
Have a sustainable workforce, exactly. Give people a living wage and give them a chance to.
But instead
have life.
Doing that, we're gonna, these people are gonna look good by giving some of their money to what they call philanthropic things, when just giving like the people that are working for you, slaving for you. Because I've heard about some of these conditions at the Amazon warehouses, and it's horrible.
Yep.
Pay them a little bit more money, treat them better, quit playing with fucking rockets. You know what? You have enough money, you can do both.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I don't.
Why couldn't you do both? I mean, that's the thing that kills me. Is it doesn't take that much. You
right.
know? I mean, how much people talk
yeah.
about how the McDonald's cheeseburger is going to go up 3 cents or 5 cents. I will gladly pay that extra. I don't need it.
I would pay 10 cents more. 10 cents. Do that math.
For people to have a little bit of dignity. Hell yeah. And if you don't think that way, I'm sorry. I think that you might be a bit of an asshole.
You're absolutely part of the problem if that's really how you think. I don't disagree.
Well, I have to disagree a little bit. And the reason being, I saw a Facebook post by someone that I know is, just from a different walk of life than I am.
Yeah.
Different race, different upbringing. And their whole post was complaining that McDonald's prices are out of control because they bought 2 meals and it cost them $19. And this is a person who, that's $20 is a lot to them.
Sure.
So, compared to what they're used to. So I think maybe the demographic of who they're targeting is going to stop eating there.
Right.
If they keep this up too. So I'm not defending anything, but I'm just saying that's also something to think about. Now, I know that they're raising their prices to make a point. They don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to raise their prices anyway. It's never If you look at 5 years ago versus now, they've raised their prices.
Well, I was going to say, even if you look at it, this was something a friend of mine pointed out who lives on the West Coast, that there's a website out there that's like a Big Mac calculator that you can punch in where you live, and it tells you what a Big Mac will cost, and it varies across the country and probably around the globe based on certain factors that are actually legitimate, material costs, how much is a pound of meat or pink slime or whatever the hell they make those burgers out of. And again, I don't eat there at all because I find it horrifying.
But don't they get them from the same place?
Well, but transport costs and whatever it is. And so and prices are different. Obviously, cost of living varies all over this country, all over the world, whatever it is. But more to the point, like you said, how many billions upon billions is somebody stuffing in their pockets that could simply be invested in creating a stable workforce?
I think I think the variable you're looking for is what the minimum wage is in that place. And it has nothing to do with anything else except what their minimum wage costs are. And that's how they're factoring in their prices.
Right.
Because that's what they think about. They think about what's the biggest expense, and the biggest expense for them is not what they're putting out. It's
labor.
What they're paying people.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly. The people, the guy that got ahead and flip it. So anyway, to wrap this up and put a bow on it, other thoughts about the episode that really kind of sparked your imagination? Anything Star Trek related that you really dug about this? I thought the subplot with Worf was kind of cool. I thought it was some good character moments for him.
So this episode was tough for me, for the infinite diversity thing that we're doing, specifically because it wasn't that thought-provoking for me because, and I read about this after, the writers said, hey, I want to write something about that represents unions. So they weren't particularly inspired by anything like, the one episode we watched that was obviously inspired by, the IRA and a bunch of other things. It wasn't really inspired by any events that they'd experienced. They just wanted to write a story about unions. So I don't think that this was as dynamic as other ones that we have done or that we will be doing.
Sure.
But I'm glad we picked it.
Right, you're right. It wraps things up a little too neatly in a bow. Everything works out pretty fantastically. And it doesn't really have any repercussions moving forward in the series at all that I can think of where you see anything really being different, because Quark being the comic relief does still go on and kind of, does what he does and treats people terribly. But I like I said, I think they follow the arc of, well, we've got this problem and we're going to do this thing and there's adversity involved. But at the end of it, we change things for the better. And so, yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, it's all a little too convenient.
I wonder how many people caught on to the use of Marxist rhetoric in the episode.
I read about it afterwards.
Yeah.
But when we watched it, the three of us, we were just making fun of the Ferengis.
We did.
Right.
We did love. Yeah. We did love their little head curtains. All right, well, cool.
I ended up watching the episode again because, when we watch an episode together, I don't.
Yeah,
I probably doing other stuff. So
yeah, I probably should have done the same, and I'll make a commitment that I will watch the episode by myself in the future as well.
But Rom actually says, we have nothing to lose but our chains, and that's pretty straight out of like the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah,
right.
Karl Marx stuff.
What was that, Clack? Did one of you just work the action on a pistol? Is it going to get violent in here? What was that noise? Oh my goodness!
I opened a LaCroix.
Oh God!
Boy!
What did they run that through a room that smells like this time?
Oh, LaCroix! Exactly. It has the hint of strawberry.
This is this is the best one, guys. It's apple cranberry.
Does it taste like apple cranberry, or does it taste like somebody drank apple cranberry and then breathed on you?
So it's the strongest one that I've ever had. I don't like very many of them. I like this, and I like the pamplemousse, which is grapefruit. Those are
my God.
Those are the only two.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's stop talking about that before we either get sued by them or, God willing, they offer us some money. So let's move on. It's my job. It's my job to keep us on track. Moving into the news, I'm going to give this first story to Erin because you said of the things we're going to talk about, this is the thing I'm the most excited about. So take it away.
I explained why I'm excited, but Star Trek Picard wraps production on season 2 and moving to season 3. Maybe we'll get a date on Star Trek Day. That would be great.
I would think so.
But they finished filming, which is cool. I know that the next article talks about, somebody that's going to be on it, which is fine. I'm not that particularly excited about this person being on it, but I'm excited for adult Star Trek that's not animated. Hopefully we'll also get a release date on Star Trek Day of Strange New Worlds.
the other shows they're making, and God willing, Prodigy, because it just seems like that's the carrot, and the stick is the thing that's whipping us. So yes, that is the carrot that's dragging us ever closer.
We got to Andy Dufresne this. We got to wade through a river of shit to come out clean on the other side.
My expectations of Prodigy are getting lower and lower and lower as I continue to watch Lower Decks.
It's on Nickelodeon. Let that be its saving grace. But do keep in mind, plug. You will be hearing from us. Obviously, this episode is dropping Monday of the week of Star Trek Day week, which is Wednesday. On Thursday, we will be recording a very special breakdown of all the news. It's going to be kind of quick and dirty, super special episode, which I will turn around and probably publish that night.
So tomorrow's Monday. This episode comes out.
Yep.
Tuesday, Star Trek Day, or is that Wednesday?
Wednesday. It goes.
Wednesday.
Yeah, we come out Monday. Wednesday is Star Trek Day. We will record and release on Thursday the 9th. You'll be hearing from us.
Thursday evening, night, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'll just turn around and I'll edit it and I'll pump it out immediately. So that is what I will do. But, pinballing off the lack of enthusiasm that Erin has for this particular next piece of news, a very attractive redhead whose last name I cannot say, Wershering.
Do we really have to comment on her appearance? Can't we just say this actress?
I mean, we can, but I just did. So you're right. It's not... I could walk it back.
Pick a path.
I could pick a path.
Yeah,
I could take it back. I should pick a path.
You can't take it back. I mean, it's out there already.
Just hit
better, man.
Reset button.
That's I'm gonna pick a path that I do what I want.
Charlie, be best.
That's a low blow. But at any rate, actress Anne Wershering, who I happen to think has nice eyes. Sorry. Doesn't have anything to do with her acting ability, is now going to be the third actress to portray the Borg Queen. First, we had Alice Krige, who there was a photograph that somebody published that was a casual close behind the scenes shot from Star Trek First Contact, which we talked about a number of weeks back, where it was Alfre Woodard, it was, I think, Gates McFadden and Marina Sirtis, and it was Alice Krige, and she looked exactly like Elizabeth Shue. So I said in the comment, what's Elizabeth Shue doing with these three other ladies from Star Trek? That was an embarrassing moment. I usually try not to embarrass myself on Facebook, but I didn't do it that day. But at any rate, yeah, it was Alice Krige, and then during Voyager, it was actress Susanna Thompson, who also had some other roles in Star Trek, including DS9. And now it's Anne Wershering, who was in she was in 24, one of Jack Bauer's very ill-fated girlfriends, as usual.
It looked like she was only on for like a season or something, right?
She was on for a season and a part of another season where she got killed.
Yeah, she was always getting fridged. His girlfriends were always getting fridged.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, at the end of the first season, it was his wife, and that was the big oh. And then he had another one who lived, and then he had another couple who died, and it was just he was a bad dude to be around. But at any rate, she was also on a show that my wife really enjoyed about three guys who they time traveled around to stop this evil corporation from changing things, and it was called not Timeline, because that was a terrible movie from the early aughts. Timeless, thank you. She was one of the a member of the evil cabal in that movie.
It's written in the article.
Thank you so much. You know how I feel about reading. And she's a Star Trek alum, because you can see her.
She was the voice of Tess in the Last of Us video game, which is an award-winning video game.
Oh yeah, I tried it. I didn't like it because it's too shooty.
Oh. It's too shooty.
You don't have to do a lot of shooting. It's a lot of sneaking if you do it right.
Video game people do like shooting.
Oh, you want to sneak? I like the story.
Shooting.
I thought the story was great.
The story seemed cool because it was like what, a little girl and her dad.
It was a guy who was helping this little girl, and they weren't related.
Okay,
right.
He was helping her get cross country because she had been bitten by these infected things. I don't remember what they're called, but she had been bitten by the infected and did not turn into one of them.
Oh,
it's not really zombies, but it has this like parasitic infection thing going on.
Kind of sort of in that vein. Yeah.
Yeah. So they thought that she could maybe help figure out like a cure, like her blood or her DNA or something can help figure out a cure.
Gotcha.
So it was this whole thing about them traveling cross country to post-apocalyptic world.
What
Gotcha.
the 10 minutes of it I did play, it looked awesome. Like, it was done really well. It just wasn't for me, so I stopped.
The second one looks even better, honestly.
Yeah, but it's gonna be more sneaking and shooting, so
you guys,
It's true.
you all right. You guys know how I feel about video games, so
only the Lego ones, right?
Only the Lego ones. So yeah, and then apparently I didn't really key into this, but there was a tweet some weeks at the beginning of, that just happened, that there was part of the promo art is a queen playing card dissolving. So apparently this was hiding in plain sight the whole time. So regardless, I always enjoyed the Borg Queen character, one of my favorite kind of Star Trek.
And this actress was on Enterprise, which
I literally just said that. So you listen to me like Todd listens to me.
I didn't hear you say Enterprise. I just heard you say she was a Star Trek alum.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Damn it! I was really hoping nobody was listening. All right, I will walk back.
Wait, you were hoping nobody was listening, and you didn't think?
I know he corrected me for no reason. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah,
very much so. Well, I know that there's nobody better to talk about this last story than Rich because of his love of physical media. So, Rich, this is all you.
I mean, it is my thing. All right,
it is your thing.
So this is the 55 years of Star Trek this year, and they are coming out with a 4K edition of 4 of the original series films, and Captain Kirk himself, William Shatner, is going to be doing I think it's like a special feature of some sort that's going to be on there.
Is he gonna talk about himself?
He always does.
Yeah,
he always does.
That's all that I really want is for him to get up and do something akin to the "Get a Life, Why Don't You" from SNL in the 80s.
But Paramount released that clip of what he's him talking about it is as a promo for these 4K releases that are going to come out. They're also doing a Blu-ray release of it. So if anybody like Charlie only has a Blu-ray player, yes, you do. Yours is only 4K upscaling, buddy. Sorry. You showed it to me.
So 4K upscaling. I don't think I showed you the player. Did I show you the player?
It's like a Blu-ray player that can take a DVD and make it look a little bit better. That's basically what it is.
But what you just said was it has 4K upscaling, not DVD to Blu-ray upscaling, which is what mine says it does. So
it's the same thing. 4K. Okay, it's the same thing. It's just a different tier. So DVD to Blu-ray is a tier, right? You go from a certain amount of graphical fidelity to a different, and then when you go from Blu-ray to 4K, you're going from basically 2,000 pixels to 4,000 pixels. So it is a different format. You can't put a 4K Blu-ray into a Blu-ray player and have it play.
Okay, so I would have to go up and drop $100, not $100, $100. That's not $100. 100. There was one at Best Buy for 100, but again,
that's yours. That's the one that you have. It's a 4K scaling player.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fair.
Regardless, this set is going to be half the price of one of these new players if you want to buy it. Only for the movies, I might add, and no director's cut of the motion picture. So.
Which is exactly what it invalidates the entire argument for me, because yes, there is, and we've talked about it on the show, the 2001 director's cut of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which I personally find to be endlessly superior because of some of the nice enhancements that were made, has been languishing in SD hell for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And now they're saying, oh, we're doing it, we're getting it out, but Paramount, obviously in their infinite greed, major corporation, wanted to get this set out before that work was complete. So to me, I would, if I could get a 4K release of the motion picture and watch it on my 4K TV, I'd be totally down. This, to me, I don't know, Rich, you're the physical media guy. Are you doing this or are you waiting for later release?
I'm waiting for the whole thing. I want to have
good man.
I mean, to release. I mean, it's going to have the special editions. What I really want is I want them to take what they did with those DVD sets back in the day, back in the early 2000s, and do that with the next, with the 4K set.
Gotcha.
Because they had special editions of things. They had, director's edition of Wrath of Khan, that sort of stuff.
Right.
All in one package. I want it all in one package, but I would like them to leave out the JJ stuff because I don't want diarrhea.
You know what? They'll stick it in there anyway, just to make sure you spend some extra time on the toilet. That's all I'm saying.
Just like when I bought my Halloween box set, it had the Rob Zombie Halloweens in it, and that's like the furthest you could get.
There was two of them.
Yeah, there were two.
Because oh my God,
I feel like a time machine would really solve two problems we've discussed today.
Okay, I'm listening.
What? How would they solve the problems?
Break it down for me.
I've told you guys this privately before.
Is it not?
Okay, I got it. I know what we're talking about here. Never mind. Well, this is probably something best discussed off the air, Charlie.
Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. Well, we can refresh on that. So, well, cool. Well, that does effectively bring us to the closing.
Oh, we can call it Erin's time machine.
Winner. Okay. Well, because you gave us that winner of a title, how about you also give us the outro?
Oh, I haven't done this in a while.
I know. That's why I want you to do it.
Okay. Hold on. I gotta find it. Wait, where is it?
It's right at the bottom.
Oh, it says outro. It's little now. For more information about Starfleet International, please visit Grand Petoskey and Nomad on Facebook.
It's cold and the outro just got out of the pool.
It's who in the... Oh, my God. Oh, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring and to keep on trekking.
Kapla.
Code 47 is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for our great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, or the podcast platform of your choice. If you would like to be part of the conversation, visit our new Discord server, or join us on Facebook, or follow us at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends on YouTube, and don't forget to visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.